Gayle Saunders here with Football Kelly. We are fourth and Jawn.com. You know, we have some big game we need to talk about, the Super Bowl. And the last time I saw Kelly in person is when I bumped into Kelly on the Santa Monica Pier with, dare I say, a couple tears maybe in the eye when
Lots,
Carson Wentz
lots
went
of
down.
emotions. I was definitely in my feelings about that. I definitely don't want to think about that right now, considering how happy I
Right.
am. But
I know. And
we've come a long
we're,
way since then.
and now we are talking about a Super Bowl. But before this, we talked about the Super Bowl. Your feelings about the Minnesota Vikings and that big win?
I'm telling you, I never thought it would have been that type of game for the Eagles. I don't think anybody suspected that the offense would come out and do what they did on the number one ranked defense of this season. I'm just really impressed with Foles, how he commanded that offense, how that defense came out and adjusted after that drive by the Vikings. Overall team win. We've seen games where the offense was down and the defense kept them up, or the defense was down and the offense kept them in it. But that was an overall team win. Like, everybody participated, all phases were firing, and I couldn't be prouder of this team. And what a big stage, how much pressure was on them, and they all showed up. Speaks to how resilient this team has been since the very start of this season. With everybody who's been injured, they just came back and proved it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna go out there and play our game, and Eagles football was damn right dominant, and I loved it.
I felt like that playoff game was like maturation process for the whole team, whether it be Nick Foles, playing the best game of his life, whether it was Doug Peterson calling the best game of his life, whether it was Jim Schwartz playing one of his best games, calling one of his best games. So overall, there were so many different pieces of the puzzle that came together perfectly on that night. I think we're all, just kind of like proud of this team and where they've come with all the adversity they've come across through the road. But their journey has been pretty amazing, and the journey leads to the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. And a lot of people will talk about the Patriots as they have the experience and they've been there, done that. They have a guy in Tom Brady and they have a coach in Bill Belichick with 5 rings. Concerned Football Kelly with playing the New England Patriots.
Well, you mentioned the experience they've got going on, and it's hard to really say that we've got that level of experience. So we've got, key guys in different phases of this defense and offense who've gotten a ring. They know how crazy it can get during the week. There are things about a Super Bowl that are different from a regular game. You're playing on essentially a neutral field. Um, and as from what I've heard, there's a lot of Eagles fans going out to watch this game. So hopefully, the pendulum swings in our direction a little bit. You're playing on a neutral field. There's a 40-minute halftime, concert going on in the middle of it. The media, the attention you're getting throughout the week while you're trying to prepare for a game, and the focus really is a challenge for a lot of guys. Um, I think that the people inside of our locker room, the Eagles locker room, we've got one guy, at least on most levels of this team, who have a ring to say, hey,
Right.
keep your stuff in check. We've got Torrey Smith at the wide receiver position. We've got LeGarrette Blunt at the running back position. Chris Long on the defensive line. Um,
There
Ellerby,
goes.
Maragos in special teams, and Graham. So these guys, they know what it takes, and they have these small sections of the team that they are working with day in and day out up until this big game where
Yep.
they can say, hey, this is going to happen today. or you should expect this to happen, and don't let yourself get distracted. I think Chris Long said it best when asked by the media before they were taking off. I think it was yesterday or the day before, about what he's going to tell these guys going into this week. And he said, don't be afraid to say no to people.
Yeah.
So, like, if people are asking you for tickets or hotels or whatever, don't be afraid to just say no. Like, I have, like, my only focus this week is this game. Handle your business ahead of time, and don't be afraid to say no to the media when they're asking you to do this or that. Stay focused on what we've got to get done, because nobody's going to care if you made it to that interview on Friday before the Super Bowl, or if they had a really nice hotel room to stay in or tickets. You're only going to care about whether you won the game. And that mindset, that mentality, I feel like, even though it's a concern that the Patriots have that experience, I still feel good about this team. The roster that's been built is strong enough to handle it. They've got the veteran experience. They've got a lot of young talent, but a lot of guys that are going to rein them in. The biggest concern for me, outside of just it being the Super Bowl, is that we're playing a team with one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Obviously, Brady's going to play a huge factor in trying to challenge our defense. He's got receiving running backs who, I've seen our defense struggle against those type of backs in the past. Whether it was McKinnon in the Vikings game, yes, he didn't get a touchdown, but there were several opportunities where, they were able to slice us on defense,
Right.
move down the field with him. Coleman had a really solid game against us in the Falcons game. We just have to be able to eliminate, any kind of security blanket for Brady. Gronk, nobody should expect that he's gonna not play this game. Like, he's absolutely
I'll
going to
be
be
there.
playing. So don't let anybody try to convince you that he's not playing. We're just gonna have to play true to our defense. Schwartz said earlier this week, we can't scheme for just one, like, to eliminate one guy. And that's how they've played this entire season. Darby and Mills have played, whoever lined up across from them. It doesn't matter who the guy is. They're just going to play that guy. So I won't expect to see them changing that philosophy. They put Mills on an island against Julio Jones. Like, they just instill that confidence. Hey, you can do this. So whether it's Mills against Cooks or Darby against Hogan or whoever lines up across from them, Brady's going to try to exploit our defense. We just have to play Eagles defense and be able to eliminate and reduce any kind of mistakes.
One thing that I think about, I think, with that experience, they've seen a lot of situations, and at the end of the day, it's situational football. I think Patriots are well versed in situational football. If you look at some of their past wins in the Super Bowl, these are all close games that they've found a way to win. Whether it be, they didn't blow out teams or so, but they found a way to win. Especially if you go back to last year's Super Bowl
Yep.
against the Falcons, that came back and won. Or you look at the game against the Seahawks where they won the Super Bowl, where they guy made a play, and that experience is something that you have to be a little bit concerned about. But at the end of the day, I am feeling oddly confident about this Eagles football team.
Yep.
And now that moves us to our next topic. Some nuggets, maybe some things that you might want to exploit, as if we were put the coaching hat on Coach Kelly. Is there uh, any parts of the Patriots offense or defense that you would want to exploit?
I feel really good about the idea of Zach Ertz against Chung. I know that he's a very solid defensive player for the Patriots. But you saw what Ertz did to Harrison Smith last week. This kid is playing the best football of his life right now. I
Right.
think he is reveling in the opportunity to play on this huge stage. I think so many of these guys on this offense, specifically this offense, have been doubted and questioned about what they can do and how they can do it. Jeffrey not getting a deal with the Bears, Torrey Smith getting cut from the 49ers, LeGarrette Blount not getting a deal with the Patriots, Ajayi getting traded midway through the season. Yeah, Aguilar getting doubted and called a bust for years, which reasonably so, but like he worked so hard and got to where he is now. Like these guys don't even need the chip of people saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're the underdogs in this game." They've been the underdogs in their own
Yeah.
lives, in their
Nick
own
Foles too.
Nick Foles too.
Hey,
And
Brooks and his anxiety.
yeah, yeah. I
We
mean,
could go on.
Kelsey, everybody wanted to trade it before the season. He's playing the best football of his life. These
Yeah.
guys are a team. Like
Right.
we can exploit. I firmly believe that when you look at the Eagles' offense, what they did against the Vikings, we could do against the Patriots. The confidence level they have in each other, it resonates across the board. You saw what they were confident in. I mean, Clement was an undrafted free agent playing clutch against Barr one-on-one.
Did you
You
see that play?
saw the flea flicker he threw. They gave him the confidence to pull off that flea flicker when he hadn't even been practicing it. In
Right.
practice, it was Ajayi on most of the practice reps.
Yep.
So he was like, I didn't even practice it. And when he was in, they made that play happen. And it couldn't have been executed more perfectly. I just think there are so many opportunities. Butler's playing well and Gilmore's playing well. I respect them as players just as much as I respected Rhodes and their secondary in the Vikings game. But you saw what they did against them. They just played Eagles offense. They played true to how Foles can really play. I mean, I was saying before, and the weather was obviously a thing, but the Oakland game, I was like, I just want to see Foles throw the long ball because we saw what he could do in the 2013 season when he had Jackson, and that deep threat
Macklin.
really helped him to operate in that offense. It's why they got to the playoffs. Why he was in the Pro Bowl, and he was limited in that because of the cold conditions. He's playing in a dome this coming week. He's gonna have decent conditions to execute how he wants to execute. That O-line is playing as best I can recall in forever. When it comes to exploiting the Patriots offense, Eagles just have to play true to their defense. And the best thing that Peterson could have ever said this week was, if we focus on them, then we'll lose this game. We need to focus on us and how we can play, because it's so true that this defense and this offense are capable of doing everything. They shut down the run. They get after the quarterback. The secondary just plays very well when it comes to creating those turnover opportunities.
Right.
I just think that Brady has a weaker line than he has in previous Super Bowl teams. They've gotten lucky a lot of times where it was really close games, like in the Jaguars game. And the Eagles have the rotation on that D-line to really exploit, that trench war that's going to be going on all game. And if we're able to keep hitting Brady, if we're able to keep putting pressure on Brady, that's the difference for me.
The pressure bust pipe scenario always plays up in my head because it's one of the things I've always talked about all season. I sound like a broken record. Interior pressure off the edge. But if you look at where the Eagles have put their money, whether it be it's in the trenches, whether it be on offensively, and you look at defensively, where the biggest portions of the Eagles' budget is, it's right there. And I think that's where you have to exploit New England Patriots, whether it's running the ball, softening them up with the RPO game, with helping out Nick Foles. I think that's where you can exploit them with they're susceptible to runs up the middle of the field. You have guys that are multiple skill sets, just like the Patriots have multiple skill sets and backs. They got four backs deep that can do a lot of they're interchangeable. Eagles have that as well. Even if you add Barner to the game, he's a finesse back that can get downfield because the Patriots linebackers can be beat in space.
Mm-hmm.
They've had problems with that, but
Hey,
I feel like
if Anthony Barr can be beat in space, I'm pretty confident we can beat those Patriots linebackers.
oh, we sure can. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the depth of this Eagles defensive line, and I feel like it was pointed out that the second most pressures in the NFL was caused by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars, who aren't as deep as the Philadelphia Eagles, who are number one in bringing the pressure. They have 7 guys on the list with 20 plus pressures. The one who leads that is Brandon Graham, and then Fletcher Cox and Bo Allen, Chris Long, Curry's in there. I believe Barnett as well, but
Position.
we that depth is ridiculous, and I feel like we can get 4 quarters of pressure. The Jaguars bought 3 quarters of pressure. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's where Brady has. Someone asked me, has Case Keenum seen the kind of pressure that the Philadelphia Eagles bring last week? And I said, hell no. And I will answer the same thing. Brady has not seen this kind of pressure
Right.
all season
And he
long.
struggled. He struggled mightily against the Jags in the beginning of that game when
He did.
the pressure was coming. Um, so if you play 60 minutes like that, like the Eagles have shown they can, Brady can't come back in that game.
Yeah. Now, moving on to reasons. I'll limit you to 3 reasons
Ah.
why the Philadelphia Eagles will win this football game.
So are we saying why they will, like, no questions asked, this is why they'll win, or
Yes.
they will win if
Your
this
top
happens?
3 reasons. There are 3 top reasons why the Philadelphia Eagles will win this football game.
The number one and probably the most strong argument I could possibly have for you is that championships are won by the defense. And our defense is better. And I will put our
Okay.
defense against the Vikings defense. I will put it up against any defense that you want to put stats up and rank them and whatever. You might not think our secondary is anything. You might talk about Ramsey and all these guys who got beaten by Brady last week. And I'm going to tell you that our defense overall is the better defense of any team in this league and can take on Brady to take him down. Number two,
Oh.
Number two is that from what I've seen, I'm trying to make sure it's true, but the top 5 offense and defense makeup of this team, of this Eagles team, is unlike what the Brady and Belichick era have been used to. They were used to the Falcons with the explosive offense, being able to make it a one-sided game, essentially. You have to play the Eagles every single phase of this game. Our special teams can block punts, block kicks. They can get after the quarterback on defense. They can create turnovers. They're opportunistic. And even with Foles, this offense proved that they can work with a very smart coaching staff to create a game plan against whatever the Patriots want to come up with. And I guess my third one, the running game. the versatility of their running game is great, but when you've got three outstanding backs who can receive, I know that Ajayi and Blunt aren't well known for their receiving ability, but they can get it done. And they can run it on you. They can truck a guy like Blunt did to Sendejo. That is something that when we're in the red zone, you better believe that they're going to try to wear down this defense and stay on the field longer. Keep the ball out of Brady's hands. If you're able to drive down the field every so often, creating that opportunity for a long pass or whatever, but if you're able to dominate on the line like our offensive line has, create that space for Ajayi and Blunt and Clement, we're winning this game.
I like those sentiments. When I think about my top three reasons why, the pressure, the pressure, the pressure, the pressure on Tom Brady will be the biggest difference maker. Number two, I'd have to say the running game, and the RPO game. I think that will, and if you want to put them all together, and Doug Peterson in the play calling and the way that they run the offense, keeping Tom Brady off the field in the time of possession will be one of the main factors of why we win this football game. The more you limit Brady's opportunities and keep him on the sideline, that's right where we want him. Mm-hmm. And if you get a couple 3-and-outs, and we get up early, and it's just passing situation, and it's situational football from there for the Eagles. You know what's coming. That would be amazing.
Stop it.
Yeah. And I say number three, I'd have to say Nick Foles is going to be serviceable, and he's not going to turn the ball over. And that is a recipe for the first Super Bowl in the Philadelphia Eagles history. I'm getting giddy. Get a little ahead of myself. Now, if we're gonna just go score predictions, your score prediction? What is your score prediction for this game?
For the Super Bowl, I have the Eagles winning 27-20.
27-20? Okay, that's funny because I had 28-20. That's crazy, man. It's funny that, and we're saying it so confident.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can reasonably think that the Eagles' defense won't give up points to Brady. I think that fans need to be aware that there's going to be a time where he's going to have opportunities and he's going to get some points on the board. So it's just a matter of our team being able to adjust well to what they're seeing out there.
Right.
And playing their game, playing Eagles football, being who they have been all season, and that's where I think we come out on top.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like we branded our own style of Philadelphia football this season. I feel like, as in past seasons, we didn't have identity. It was we had teams with identity crises. This team is we are here. This is who we are. Yeah, I think finally we have defense back in Philadelphia. I think that's one of the main reasons why people are so excited is you can get behind a defense that plays the kind of football that you're familiar with from the 90s.
Right.
From being a 90s head, I've seen this defense, I'm earlier on, I was I haven't seen defense played like this since the 90s, and I think overall that's, the defensive minded football is, I'm an offensive guy. I played running back in high school, wide receiver in college. but I get excited over defense. Like
Yeah.
good defense gives you more offense at the end of the day. So, final thoughts. Any final thoughts you want to leave for the Eagle fans out there, the rabid Eagle fans who are so desperate and hungry for their first Lombardi Trophy?
I don't think that there is anything I need to say to convince people to believe in this team, and if I do, then you're probably not an Eagles fan. Um,
Or probably
this
dead
team,
inside.
this team is this team has done so much this season. I'm just proud to be a fan of them right now. Like, there's nothing that will make me prouder than to see them win it all. And obviously, you've got your family and all your friends who are huge supporters of this team, who've been diehard fans for years. Um, and I don't think that this story could have turned out any better, um, if we tried. Like, I just believe that this team will do whatever it takes to win the game, and I'm looking forward to next Sunday.
It sounds like you're describing a destined football team. I feel like the energy level in the city has been off the meters. I
Mm-hmm.
was walking down South Street yesterday, and just Eagle fans are just like, I got my Eagle gear on. People just want to talk, and they're like, you can see it in their eyes. Like as a diehard Eagle, you know how high people are when you see them on Eagles football. Everyone's like lit up. It's like having a Christmas tree, and the Eagle fans, are the ornaments or the lights because we're like just shining so bright. But are you going to be watching the Eagles game in Philly?
No,
In Atlanta? Okay.
in Atlanta. But I
Okay.
said, I said this yesterday. If they win, I'm coming home for the parade.
When? What's it? When?
When they win, I'm coming home for the parade.
Okay. I like that. I like to hear that. We'll be watching on Broad Street,
Yes.
and the thought is you right after the win you go outside and party. I mean that's where we're on the next level thinking here at
Mm-hmm.
fourthandjawn.com. I mean that's all for me. Eagle Sessions. You can find me on Twitter. But Kelly, let them know where they can find you on Twitter.
You guys can find me at underscore at football underscore Kelly.
Okay. And she's doing great work on fourthandjawn.com. So if you want to see her writing, you can check it out there. But that's all for us. Let's go Eagles and go Birds.
Fly Eagles fly.